Very good morning to all, respected my dear students. So we have come across most of the information which related to the ethics, myths, legal documentation, evidence, how the information science, information technology, information flow, and the security aspect, which are very essentially required. What are all the various in and outs of the respective flow which are required very essentially most of the time. You come to very clearly if any sort of flow is missing, the whole network or the technological aspects. So we need to blame a user or a system or a connectivity or the communication line, and is it possible to improve certainly the technological aspects which are more evidence follow provide an extensive knowledge for improve the information security. Users are the missing link. Generally, most of the users, most of the endpoint, target, a source and the link in between connectivity, they used to identify themselves whatever the flow of an exchange which are going to be drawing, flowing from my side, reaching to the respective destination. Is it an authenticated one? Is it more confidential one? Is it integrated one? Then you can choose if that is a case, and you have to identify what are all the loopholes in order to manage a different reliable level of link establishment. Link establishment, if any chance missing, with the help of Wi-Fi connectivity, with the help of WiMAX connectivity, with the help of wired connectivity, with the help of satellite connectivity, with the help of sensor devices, whatever it may be, a different type of a devices, different type of a communication technological links which are going to be established. If somewhere else missing, then how to be go for measuring a level of a quality of services, the performance aspects of the security, information security. See what will happen? We are not in a position to say getting an opportunity, it is not going to be resolve the problem of information security. If you see finding most of the challenging of a technological aspects which are available from the wired network to the wireless network, from the wired network to the IEEE standard network, what we are observing like a Bluetooth technology, ad hoc network, sensor devices, so, which are not going to be resolve most of the challenges of information security. But if you say a device and if you consider as part of the system, similarly, in which way the user can go for managing various type of a switch devices or electronic circuitry or PCB or the user management too. These are all most important aspects, most important events which are going to be considered as like a security technological aspects. In the principles of a complete IS information security, how we are going to be build, you are going to be develop, design a very high level security. See, entering a level of a password is different, but how this particular gateway is asked like preventing, protecting, and similarly how which are going to be authenticate is exactly known user or unknown user who a person did not came for stealing a flow of an information, no, getting an information. He is not asked like intruder or attacker or hacker. If that is the case, how we are going to be set up the environment? Those environments are nothing but firewalls. Similarly, we can call it as VPN, virtual private network. I will just go one by one. What are all the things you are going to be understand in a systematic manner? See, once we complete a firewall, what we can, this is a physical design. See, in order to go for implementing installation of managing full-fledged security program in a device itself only. That is going to be handled understanding the complete information flow of firewall. A technology and the various, we can say, different classes of security of the firewall. So similarly, how we can go for incorporate, what are the design aspects, so what are the merits and the demerits, so where exactly you can configure, how the installation you can do, is it which are most of the device which are dependable on this type of a device or a technological aspects of protecting the flow of an information in a secure manner. See what will happen if you identify the various type of approaches locally, remotely, and you can make use because we are dependable on telephone connectivity, we dependable on television connectivity, we dependable on satellite communication. Is it these lines are going to be protected? If so, what are all the methods are there involving for controlling which assure from the user point of view maintaining full-fledged security, we can say confidentiality of an information, authenticity of the information, authorization of the information, availability of the information, finally integrity of the flow of a user flow from one end to other end. These are all the various type of an approaches you have to be identify within the network, outside the network, and you can make use a telecommunication network also. So how we can go for filtering these technological aspects? Suppose I myself is talking, we can make a compose, we can make an addition, we can make a deletion, we can go with an various type of addition aspects, which are very essentially required as per the examination point of view, as per the understanding, knowledge, insight point of view. We can easily filter, make use some sort of a standard level of a softwares are available. If you get into the YouTube, we can such a way that these are all not required at all. We can easily manage. How can easily manage a breakthrough for particular content? We can call it as content filtering technologically aspects. Is it possible to incorporate with the help of firewall? Firewall in the sense is fire is basically called a protection, prevention, unsealed, correct? But we can make use various types of word. How this acts like a wall, that means to say a physical event of that one. We can make use a device to set up preventing various unauthorized accessibility. And we can make sure such a way that describe the technology that enables to use of how we can go for the flow. In the sense, to understand a clear picture about firewall with the overview of that one, technology controls are very essentially, we can easily trust ourselves some of the various type of policies with respect to the different type of an activities do not involve a direct human, or it may be the user never part of in order to manage full-fledged security. Is it possible to make a policy enforce some sort of essential type of a program we can execute on the physical device? Those are the technical controls. Similarly, which are going to be improve on organizational effects, ability to balance making information which are readily available and which are not going to be against increase in relevance of the confidence and integrity. See what we heard very clearly, the tide of a confidentiality, then the authenticity, similarly authorization availability and the identity and the integrity, These are all how which are going to be managed with the help of setting up the environment. This one basically looks like a direct physical design, having a various type of procedure involving that. You have to be select such a way that these are all the technological aspects which are going to be support for IS, and you can go with the documentation. You should have a clear framework about how the technology which are going to be support for maintaining, preventing, protecting flow of an exchange which are going to be reached from X to Y, Y to X, and A to B, M to N, whatever it may be, user, that which are going to be much more confidential. There should be a complete framework. There should be complete level of information should be available with respect to the technological events. And we can go for identifying complete technical solution based on important of this technology. One is a deployment. See, we are collecting a particular device from the vendor or a supplier, a manufacturer. Is it possible? How we can go for deployment, which are going to be compatible to the existing environment? What are all the operations, the tasks we can easily execute on these devices? So, if so, something goes wrong, within a 24 hours we can't understand day in day out. But if something goes wrong next day, next moment, how the maintenance of various type of connectivity points, so access point to base access point, so inter access point, various, you can say IMP, so inter message processor point. So is it possible to improve a security of whole set of environment in and around where exactly the physical design may incorporated, implemented? This particular physical security clearly gives measures to support complete solution for highly secured information security. What we can understand, is it a physical design consists of the processing of various type of activity which are going to be take place in between one type of device to another type of a device. We have to be configured. So what exactly it says, prevent specific types of information from moving between the outside world. We have like a www.mangaloreuniversity.ac.in. Anybody can see, it's a public domain website. But how overall the authenticated person can get into that one? You see that one, any MNCs, any educational institution, any entrepreneurship, correct? No, who are a untrusted network, we are going to be dependable on how the activity which are going to be mapped on the trusted network. There should be understanding between the flow of an exchange from the untrusted network who are all not known the clear picture about the existing environment of the flow of an exchange of the various devices which are deployed within the network, outside the network. Then you say how we can make a bridge, how we can fill up the gap of that one. For that, there should be specific types of preventive measuring action or activities. You have to be moved between one from untrusted network. We can call it as a private level, a private domain, and inside the word we can say trusted network. We can say public network. Public and the private is entirely different. Maybe separate. What are all the things which are involving? If you say firewall, firewall comprises of the contains the following components. There should be a computing system. There should be a computer. If in the sense input device, output pair, whatever it may be, in which you can say a laptop, or desktop, or palm top, or computer, or supercomputer, or high performance computing system, whatever it may, we can choose. There should be a separate computing system and the compatible level of software running on existing device is a router. Router is basically a physical device or a server or a separate network contains supporting devices. You can say if any laptop, desktop, palm top, or you are making use a device which are going to be connected to the physical switch, or which are going to be supporting device for a networking, then these are the flow of an information which related to the firewall. What are the processing various modes of an operation of a firewall? If you say firewall can be categorized based on in which way they are going to be understand the exchange unit. Exchange unit in the sense one is called a packet filtering. We have understand very clearly ISO OSI architecture model from the physical layer bits so, then followed by the data link layer bits stream. Then once move to the packet, network, there should be a packet. Unit of representation of understanding the basic flow in case of any type of a physical security, logical security, information security, system security, network security. They can understand the basic unit of a data only packet. Then how we are going to be filter, packet filtering. One type of a processing mode of firewall. Is it possible? The packets having, if you are sending a image data, if you are sending like a textual data, if you are sending a audio data, combined together, multimedia data, you have to be get in the form of packets. Is it possible to protect those packets? Filtering. Application gateways. See, we are very happy to say once you browse, surf, navigate a flow of an information, the topmost layer with the help of available software. Take an example like a Chrome, Edge is available, Netscape Navigator, Mosaic, correct, various type of browser which will execute a browsing. Then there should be a gateway, application gateway. Even today, Mangalore University.ac.in, if you are doing online transaction, no, offline level of a flow of an information through www, whatever it may be, with the telnet to sending mail, receiving mail, which goes through only gateway. We can call it as 192.168.3.1 of our computer science. Similarly, each and every department, we can easily, even though we are doing any sort of a malfunction, we are doing any sort of unethical flow of an exchange through our system to the other end, we can easily track, we can easily trace with the help of application gateway. That is one of the standard principal characteristic of firewall. Similarly, circuit gateways. So we have a system in the PCB itself only, printed circuitry board itself only, we can easily manage a flow of a prevent through one of the a personality of a logic device. We can call it as a gateway. Similarly, in which way, which are going to be managed on the application level, like that in the kernel level, we say that one PCB level, printed circuitry board level also, we can call it as circuit gateway firewall. MAC layer firewall. See, we understand very clearly packet filtering on network layer, application gateway, once again, application layer, circuit gateway, once again, we can call it data link, physical level, MAC layer, data link layer. These are, you can say, MAC layer firewalls. See, MAC layer is called medium access control layer. It's a part of a data link layer, keep in mind. If you extract what we have studied like ISO OSI architecture, physical layer, circuit gateway, data link layer, MAC layer firewall. Similarly, if you go transport network, then the packet filtering. If you are choosing appropriately whatever the unit of representation, then you can find out the corresponding mode of a firewall. MAC layer firewall, so MAC is basically how the logical link control, medium access control. You have to be identify this system having a unique ID of the Ethernet address. We are running like a gateway address. Above that one gateway IP version 4, IP version 6. If you use like IP, you can get the corresponding address of the system. But what is the level of MAC identification? What is an address specification? Which consists of once again 6 octets, 48 bits length of the level of the address. Is it possible to make a firewall of a MAC layer? Then combine together. If you take like a network filtering, network layer, similarly application layer, physical layer, data link layer, if you make combine together, we can call it as hybrid firewall. These are the different type of modes of operation of processing of firewall. If you go one by one, packet filtering firewalls examine header information of data packets. See, there should be a standard. We have studied only the classification of IP address. Class A, Class B, Class C, Class D. 0 to 127 Class A, 128 to 221, 120, 0 to 127, 128 to 223, 224, like that. 191, 192 to 223, 223. These are the different Class A based on how the network address availability, similarly allotment, similarly how the host address allotment based on that one. Similar fashion, we can find out a various IP, internet protocol, source and destination address. There should be a source address, logical identity, then there should be a MAC address similarly, and the source and destination end also. You can identify logical IP of the machine, then followed by physical MAC address also. We can find with like inbound and the outbound direction in which are going to be exhibit to understand how the changes which are going to be. Then a TCP, we are very much sure much more manageable with respect to the reliability, connection oriented do. Similarly, guarantee that level of a protocol strategy, how the transport layer, other end a connectionless, other end unreliable, no guarantee user datagram. And you can identify for specific type of a task, independent port options are there. We'll see that those are how the configuration you can easily make for setting up physical firewall. Similarly, simple firewall models enforce rules designed to packets with certain address or partial. See, you have to give an address specification in such a way that this particular header, this particular offset, this particular handset should carry only these levels of the rules and regulations. So, if so, image, what is the maximum size? If the audio is going to be transferable, what is the maximum size of a data? You might be come across, even though the particular system is able to reachable, readable, and executable, there should be certain limitation, attribute level accessibility. Is it possible to make all the things available in case of a format specification of packet? If you go with like, we can classify the filtering levels process in 3 different processes: a static filtering, dynamic filtering, a stateful inspection. What is meant by static filtering? Which requires the rules governing how firewall decide which packets are allowed and which are denied or developed and installed. See, fix one. This particular organization holds good for managing only handling email services for available employees, not for visiting employees. We can fix up slots for that one. That means to say how the packets for email overall the permanent user, we can specify in the corresponding log file. Then or it may be the concerned authenticated user can able to allow. You can make a log table for a permanent employee. Similarly, ad hoc employee. Similarly, how we can go for preventing those who are coming from the outside. That means how we are going to be denying a services We can do a setup on the system itself only. That is a before we can call it as a static filtering, but which based on in which way the available resources, based on how the allocation which are going to be managed. Similarly, based on how the rules which are going to be deal and find out various types of events which are going to be executed. Adjust it to the present scenario, present arena, we can call it as dynamic filtering. Allows firewall to react to the emergent event and update to create rules. See, some users are coming immediately, correct? Now we have some sort of a standard level of video conferencing going to be take place. Then you have to give an address for them. Then how to set up on the firewall? That type of a firewall setting is called dynamic filtering. What is meant by stateful inspection? Firewall that keep track of each network connection between internal and external system using a state table. It's going to be managed. See, myself, I can easily, you sometime you are observing, correct, no, Pallavi logging in, logging out. We have all records. I can say once which are going to be recorded, at what time, this particular, how many users are there. That's why I'm not in a position to take an attendance, but I can see how many users are logged in, who are all there, at what time they logged in, what time they logged out, what sort of a utilization of that resources. So these are all because in which way, which are going to be give a complete a table of an entry, a log of an entry, the processing of an entry. We can call it as stateful inspection. Got it now? Post pre-level, we can say static filtering. In order to find out the situation, how is going to be explicitly manageable, then is called dynamic. Changes are going to be take place. In order to manage both internal and external system with the help of a specific track, trace, log table, then we can call it as stateful inspection. See that one structure of this one, how this manageable. Correct? No? You can find out such a way that how the IP packet structure. Ladies and gentlemen, we have studied a very clear picture about the total length of the IP address is 32 bits. Internally, you cross-section the IP consists of have their own different parameter. See, one among header version, it will tell you what version specific. Is it IP version 4, IP version 6? So length of that one 4 bits. So type of services is online service, offline service. So, and similarly, how the level of services which are going to be allowing, denying, identification, what type of a data, flags, so onset flags, so offset flags, so fragmentation of the offset level. So see, you might be come across like address is not going to be matching. Similarly, the data what we are sending is not going to be identify the specific target or the sync level of an address. So see, all among you can say time to live, TTL, you can call it as. Then a protocol, which type of protocol, the set of rules and the procedure governing. Header checksum. See, once we are talking, if a compatibility of your information of the device is up to the mark, then no problem, no errors, no checksum errors. And negatively, which are not in a position to understand, especially we can find out this header checksum. If you are copying an information of a files or a folder to CD, or CD to one CD, or CD to pen drive, whatever, voice over. So you can take any sort of device is acts like a source drive. Another one device is acts like a destination drive. So you are using for making copy. You are using for making duplication. You are using for making how the redo of the file from one end to other end. During the time, if any sort of power checksum problem due to the errors of UPS, so various other correct, then whatever the files which are going to be copies or the folds which are going to be copied from the source to destination not completing, then if something goes wrong in between, then chances of header checksum, if they are not compatible to write PPTX to PPT, PP2 to PDF, PDF, whatever it may be, then this type of error is called header checksum. The total having 16 bits. See, overall, internally, if you go with a cross section of an internet protocol logical identity, it consists of first among, you can find out the header version or header length or type of services have their own standard format of the within the limit. Similarly, identification flags or fragment level of the, and you can find out TTL. If you use a command called ping, P-I-N-G, ping followed by a localhost, ping followed www.amazon.ping followed by www.mangalore.ac.in, whatever it may be, you can find out the class and the activities of TTL. Time to leave, at what time initiated, what time log out, and what are the protocols which are available. And we can through that one source IP packets. So source IP is having total number of lengths are total number of lengths are total number of lengths which are available exactly with the help of information 32 bits. Similarly, destination IP address, both are mapping one to another. Similarly, options are there. You can make use one option to the another option which are available within the. Then the data. Data is depending on various type of an information which are going to be used. See, complete information with respect to the cross section of IP packets, you can understand very easily one to another how the flow of an information through. Next one, still further, please kindly just know, understand very clearly, these are the things information available. See, we have come across any sort of services which are running now, we can find out easily. One is called a source port, another one is a destination port. Source ports and the destination port. And similarly, you can find out one to another for online services different port to offline services different port. How we can go and how we can manage easily one to another the level of the information through identity. We have a source of information. We have a source of an information, and we can come to know one to another. Source port, a sequence number, one way or the another way. We can find out how the flow of an information which are gained through the logic acknowledgement number also. Sequence number, if I am talking, there should be a sequence number 1, then followed by next frame, how which are going, no, we can find out, we can call it as a sequence number. Similarly, we can identify the various levels of acknowledgement number also. One sequence number is passed, another sequence number there should be ready for, then there should be acknowledgement for that one. Acknowledgement for that one you can say. And real flag setup you can call it as offset to, reserved to, and the Windows environment to, urgent pointer to, checksum levels to, padding to. These are all the various. We can say TCP header and the UDP header. One to another is different. So how the connection oriented services which are going to be gaining knowledge, how the connectionless type of services which are going to be gain a knowledge. You see that one? There should not be any sort of internal structure of offset to, reserved to, and you can say how the acknowledgement to, Windows size to, and these are all not at all. You can ask the question directly, sir, why there is no information flow of a structure oriented level of a different type of parameters are not available as like in TCP and UDP? Sure. See, UDP is a connectionless, TCP is a connection oriented. That's only we can distinguish the characteristic feature of that one. If the connection oriented, then if we are sending like a speed post, take an example, it has to go from here to the target or the sink and the where the it has to be delivered. Correct. Before that one, there should be intermediate location one. There should be a registry. Through that one, we can just track that corresponding letter. We can easily dispatch from this location. No, at what time? No, at what time it deliver everything. But indeed, is not in a position to identify, not in a position to track in case of a UDP. That's why, if you make a comparison between one to another, we can identify only what are similarity factor like a source port. I told you very clearly port. Total number of representation of 16. 2 power of 16, what is the value? 64,356 level of the 355, 0 to stands. These are all completely reserved ports. If we are going to be do for any sort of a design and the implementation of a network level of a services which are going to be patent, which are going to be navigate, which are going to be novelty, then you have to decide. Other than this one, we can call it as unreserved port. Source port having a length totally 16 bits. We can represent 65,535 representation. Similarly, more or less same. Both are equal level of representation, as like in which way identify the location of that one. If you have any queries, you can ask me. See, options are there. Padding in the sense how which are going to be compress a data. There we can make use a different type of setup. And now see, this is a clear cut diagram. What is meant by packet filtering router? We have come across there should be a public domain, there should be a private domain. How, what way the untrusted network block data packets? We are not in a position to see who is the person X is coming to our campus or the premises. Then that is different. We can easily block. And we can make use a packet filtering use as a first generation firewall. Beginning, we are going with a standard electronic device consists of number. There should be a PCB, there should be a motherboard, there should be a circuitry within that one is going to be acts like the 8-port connectivity, 24-port connectivity, 16-port connectivity, 4-port connectivity. Today you see that one if you go for connecting a local Wi-Fi connectivity, then used to be set up like a router. There should be a gateway. Beginning, you have to spend money. Later, you have to go with based on the currency. That type of packet filtering is you take like a router. It acts like a switch, which filter whatever the packet which comes from the outside environment. We have a trusted. We have our own server. Email servers are there. Similarly, chat servers are there. Very confidential flow of an information. We can call it as trusted network. Outside, which are coming before a packet filtering device connect, we can call it as untrusted network. You have to block. You have to go with the configuration. That means to say, if we have a two different type of two-tier model approaches. One tier is based on how the public domain is going to be easily manageable. The other end we can call it as how the private network is easily maintainable. Two different type of status. You can take some sort of a standard rule. Suppose today you are using like a what is the 172 class A or B, class C, which address of this one? If you take 192, the class C. 172 is class B. I told very clearly 0 to 127 class A, 128 to 191 class B, 192 to 223 class C, 224 to 230. That is class D. Class D, you need not worry, but only how we can make a classification based on the host address, based on the network address. See, if you look at a machine which are going to be send and explore, exchange you need to the destination of address 10.10. Whatever it may be, a class C address, services which are going to be like browsing service. You can call it HTTP hypertext transfer protocol. If you are sending mail, simple mail transfer protocol, downloading, uploading, FTP protocol, telnet, connecting it, network telnet. These are all the different services. Is it what sort of an action which are going to be take place? Allow or deny. You can specify. This way, how we can easily manage a setting of an environment on the device. See in which way what we have observed previously. If you look at like on the device of this particular device, you can set up untrusted network and the trusted network. We have the value of the representation from class B to class A. We have a different type of a protocol strategies which are going to be executed. We can maintain, not going to be prevent. We are going to be prevent. We are going to be protect. We can set up. These are the different type of action. the sample data which are going to be managed. Then second level, what is meant by application gateway? After understanding clear picture about a packet filtering, and you can go on install and a dedicated exclusively for meant for maintaining fully productivity, also known as a proxy server. Application gateway is acts like a proxy server. We can find out such a way that very often sometimes it's going to be unsecurity exposed to the higher levels of risk from less trusted network. The chances of, even though due to various other reasons which are not going to be trusting factors behind it, then the chances of how we are going to be managed and maintained on the application layer. Addition filtering router can be implemented behind the proxy server. We can set up first level filter row, second level filter. How we are going to be correct now? If you get into the for a job tough competition, we can go with like a written test to into then grouped is like that for here also. Any sort of a flow of an exchange which are going to be reachable to the trusted network, then you have to go with a different level, beginning with the packet filtering, then followed by application gateway is nothing but proxy server. Further, which are going to be protected very clearly, he is going to be the authorized user within the time domain only. Next day, if you come, then immediately can ask deny services for making use email services. So making use whatever the facility which are available within the campus. And similarly, we can think about the PCB gateways. We can call it as a circuitry gateways or circuitry gateway which operates at transport layer. I told you very clearly, application gateway operates at application layer. Packet filtering which are operate on network layer. Similarly, transport layer. PCB related, how which are going to be with the alpha, two different type of a set of rules or a procedure available. Set of rules and the procedure in the sense the UDP protocol and the TCP protocol. Like filtering firewall, do not usually look at data traffic flow in between two. Never bother about whatever the exchange flow, but prevent direct connections between one network to another. We say that one, I am ready to manage only the level of networking flow, not the exchange flow. That is the main principle of circuit gateways. That means to say, which allows to so that error free of the flow of an exchange from one network connectivity to another network. Never bother about in which way the flow which are exit between one to another, and which are going to be accomplished by creating a level of a team, a tunnels, we can tunnels connecting specific process, and also which are going to be within the side, each side there should be a firewall setup, allow only authorized traffic in the tunnels. See, within that one, there should be a tunneling configuration. Each tunnel acts like an internal firewall in case of circuit gateways. In case of circuit gateways. And MAC layer firewalls. See, I told you very clearly, medium access control layer, data link layer, designed to operate medium access control layer of OSI network. If you see the ISO OSI architecture from the physical, data link, network, transport, session, presentation, and application. But how the specific host computer to identify the level of the filtering, which one is going to be take this into granting an option. MAC address of a specific host computer. See, we are using like a with the help of IP address, whatever our communication, online transaction, and online talk or online way of the presentation, it goes on the higher level layer. You can say application gateways. But who are all responsible? There should be a MAC address on the device. If you are using laptop, if you are using your cellular phone, a partner, whatever it may be, there should be a product ID representation of that one, compatible to the and the within the data link layer option. We can call it as medium access entries that identify specific types of a packet that can be sent each host. All other traffic is blocked. That means how we can go for broadcasting go, how we are going for unicasting go, how we can go for multicasting go. We can easily control. We have to give a permission for that one. See how the simple what we described so far a different type of firewall setups. If you compare with the ISO model, reference model, application gateway take into consideration from the three layers. So because gateway, circuits gateway and transport layer, packet filtering and the network layer, MAC layer firewall which are on the data link layer, circuit base. These are all four important levels of different type of options which are available. How we can go for understanding. If you make a combine together, we can call it as, we can either, we are not going the unique identifier of the configuration of particular. Then you go with the combined together, we can call it as hybrid firewalls. Combined elements of other types of firewall. Elements of exchange flow filtering and proxy services, or packet filtering and circuit gateways, in which way the different type of transport layer applicable. Similarly, alternatively may consist of two separate firewall devices, each separate firewall system but connect to a different. We can call it as independent hybrid level of a model approaches through how we can set up an environment. Firewall categorized by generation. See what we observed so far, in order to understand the internal based on the configuration, based on the task which are going to be executed, based on the procedure of the ISO model, you understand beginning from the packet filtering, then followed by a circuitry, then followed by in which way the gateways option, and four different. Similarly, here also we can say that one how the classification categorically the generation. Static packet filtering firewall, the first generation, in which we initiated to understand how we can go for protecting the flow. The second generation is second generation is application level firewalls, or we can call it as proxy servers. Third generation is stateful inspection firewall. The fourth generation, what we are observing, like a dynamic packet filtering firewall, which are going to be studied certainly what are all the existing flow, user level low, systems level low, network level low, a total entrepreneurs strategies. Based on that one, we can fourth generation. Finally, kernel proxies, fifth generation. For the PCB, for the internal factor itself only, there itself only the device, we can set up a security for, we can call it a kernel proxies, specialized from, which was initiated from Windows NT, probably might be not come across Windows network technology. After Windows 95, 98, 2000, 2003, that was a very boom of Windows NT. Windows NT is a workstation. They initiated from the kernel level, how there itself only you can set up a configuration, we can easily filter a packet, we can easily filter in which way the proxy server configuration going to be, which were initiated fifth generation computing paradigm of the firewall. And firewall category based on structure also. You can say how the information, all the thing. I will discuss in next class. These are all the flow of an information. I have given a very clear picture about the design specification of various type of firewalls available to understand how which are going to be physically manageable to one another. And these are the today's class. Tomorrow I'll continue firewall category by structure, then followed by the architecture of that one. Similarly, how the, if you say packet filtering router, what are all the configuration strategies are available, how which are looks, what we observed earlier, is it same or different, and how which are going to be manageable from the trusted user, untrusted environment, and what are all the screened host firewall, all the things I'll discuss tomorrow. Thank you. Tomorrow we'll meet once again, same time, 11:30. And meanwhile, very well in advance, wish you a happy new year to all. Thank you. Any query, sir? Respected my dear students, any queries, any questions, we'll discuss later. The remaining, I'll engage tomorrow at same time, 11:30. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
It's my pleasure.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Habib. We'll see you
Thank you, sir.
tomorrow. Well, in advance, wish you happy New Year 2021.
Same to you,
Thank
sir.
you, sir.
Okay, welcome, sir. I'll close the recording. I'll close the option. Thank you.
Thank you.